Here we go, kids. Alright, we're going to do milling hollow spheres. This is something that we worked on back with the Revo Model A and B mill, and is quite intense in advanced options. Here in the C mill, we are going to be using the detailed options, and we will show you that it's quite a bit simpler. Here is the exact same model that we had back on the Revo A and B. I'll go to plastic, and we'll wait and get a good look at this little guy. We have a 1 centimeter wide half of a hemisphere. Sorry, we still can't mill it solid. We're going to have to mill it in 2 pieces and stand it up. But the problem being was getting back up inside here. And so on the Revo A and B, we had to put in outside supports. We're using a disc in place of a hub. And we've got the wedge for alignment and all the necessary curves. Well, it gets better. We don't need the wedge or the outside supports or any of the curves. So I'll get rid of those and come back. And there we have it, stripped back down to where it should be. This has a ring rail of 3.5. We've stood up the hemisphere, half of hemisphere that we work on. There we go. That's all we need. So we would job bag that like always. Let's go ahead and do that. Always good to keep job bagging. Now we go into our Revo C builder. We grab the entire model, throw it in here like this. And it says, it thinks you're making a ring because it has a ring rail in it. Yes, that is true. We are going to do it the traditional way, which is to say we're going to do it like that. And we want to put a hub on it. And from there you can see that it's put in some supports. Well, my ring rail is so close to the inside of my disc that I've got to move these over into the body of the ring. I hope you can see that in the movie. Move that up and move that up. And this is the appropriate time to be making those moves. Now we go next, we're going to work on a 15 millimeter wide piece of wax, and we're going to pick the 5-side cut. We come in here, I've already done this once, that's why it's sitting at 10. You can see that this is a 10 millimeter wide object. So we'll go ahead and say no inner supports, none, 10, make a hub, and I'll put the hub inside where we want it to go. Come back out. We're going to leave all of our distance between tool pass and our 10-degree cutter intact. Now, the only thing that we're going to do different at this phase of the game is go into rotary, and we're going to change the cutting angle. We don't need to cut all the way around the ring. All we need to do is cut this top. So what we're going to do is come up here and go, there's my start angle, here's my ending angle, and of course these are always mills clockwise in the through finger view. And then we want to add some extra cuts. Now we don't have the mirror feature anymore, so we'd have to add a bunch of flat on hub. And in fact, we're probably going to end up having to add about 6. I'm only going to add 3 for one side, and this is because we don't have the mirror anymore. Start cut here. Click out here where we can expand it. Mill depth. We don't need to work with mill depth yet. Let's go into our cut angle. We're working through finger. We click go, and I'm going to bring this down to 180. I'm actually going to go a little bit past 180. I'm going to go about 100, or I'm sorry, past 90 degrees to about 100. Click enter. Then I'm going to change my cut depth. Click go. Slide my cut depth so that it's all the way through the center of that to the inner surface of my hemisphere. Hit go. Last but not least, I'm going to go in and get a custom border. I'm going to have to go show. Let's blow that up so we can see what we're working on. If I go to plastic, see a little better what's happening. I'm going to turn my snaps off. I have O snap is on, so I'll just turn that up here like that. And I'll turn off my O snaps. They're a little bit pernicious right now. Don't need them going on. Now I'm going to, type rect for rectangle. And I can make a rectangle. I only want to mill out to about, well, I only need to go out to about here on each side. And then I'm going to come all the way down, and I'm clearing out some space for myself to work. And there, we can't see our line anymore, so we got to go back to the wire guide. There we go. Throw that in there. Close that up. Part 2. Basically the same thing. We should have gotten rid of custom, going to custom borders, should have hidden that. There we go. Now we come out. We do the same thing. Cut angle. This time we're going to take it more severe. We went to 100 degrees last time. Now we're going to go about 125 or so. Maybe 130. It's a good angle. Hit enter. Now we have to change our depth. Hit go. Pull it up so that we're again getting up inside our hemisphere. Hit enter. And we need to go down and change our borders again. Custom borders, mill view on. Zoom in here. Again, plastic is one of my choice friends. Now we've already milled away a lot of material that was in our way. We're going to do again the same thing. This time we won't have to just type rectangle. This time the only thing I'm shooting for is right across here. Nope. Grab that rectangle. There we go. Hide that. And we'll do one more for side 3. Cut angle. Last one was 130. This time we'll go to 150. Maybe even further. There's 100. If you hold down the shift key, you get 5mm increments. Makes it a lot easier to control what you're doing. 45, 150. I think 50, about 150 is about as far as we want to go. Hit enter. Change our depth. Hit enter. And see that we're going to have the cutter come right up along the edge of this. We're just going to be working up here in the inside one little area. Custom borders. Turn our manual border on. Show it again. Blow it up. Zoom in. Back to plastic. Yep, we're going to get right up in that area. That's all we're worried about getting into. So we're going to do one more rectangle. Right to about there. And the reason I'm not too worried about it is because I'm cutting across. I'm going to have to do this twice. I'm not going to set it up once for the purpose of this video, but I would have to set it up for twice. Go across there. Let's see. Is that it? That's it. That in there. So I'm going to make the tool paths come back to the movie. Tool paths are done. Let's take a look at what we've got. Starting at part 1, there's our cutout curve. Sure enough. Here's where we cut our hub. That's great. Here's where we're going to do flat on dual 3-sided. This is where we're going to cut down from the top. Come around and get 5 sides, top 2 sides going around on each side, which gets a real nice cleanup and gets most of that built for us right off the bat. 4th, this is where we're doing our calibrations for our cut hub. You can see them down here at the bottom. 5, here's where we do the second half of the calibration for cutting the hub. 6, here's where we do rotary on center, and you can see where I constrained it so that you only mill part you want, not a whole bunch of extra wax that's going to get thrown away anyway. Last but not least, we come down to subpart 7 where we added our cuts. Easier to see here in perspective. I'm going to drop this down. There's my first cut. As you can see, we're coming in from this side. We get a little bit of cutting back on the back side here. Second cut, same thing. Now we're getting much deeper up inside, cleaning that out. Might be able to see it better in wireframe. There's our first cut down here at this edge. Here's our second cut. We get just a little bit of overlap, which is what we want. We get that curve done. Here's our third cut. You can see we don't get a lot up in there, so we might want to go back and actually change the angle so it was stepped less to clean up in the top, and then we have to go back and put in 3 more identical to it to cut from the opposite side and get the same kind of cut. This is something you need to tune, play with as you go, but you can actually get this model cut out pretty much the same way we did it on the B, with a lot less time involved setting the whole thing out. So that completes how to mill hollow spheres for the RevoC model mill. Enjoy.